Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the stream. Or if it's your first time here, welcome. Hope you're all having a fantastic Friday, or whatever it is, or whatever day it is for you right now. And we are back. So, weekend stream. It is the main game, and you know it. We are playing Of the Devil, continuing with episode 2. A fucking gang member just attempted to assassinate our client in the middle of the courtroom. Luckily, we were able to not get fucked up by that, and now we're going to be attempting to go back to the court case, which, you know, makes sense as a means of, well, actually, I don't know if we're going back to it immediately. We might get one more investigatory scene, but I don't remember if we walked back into the courtroom in the last time we streamed it. I don't remember. I'll remember in just a moment, so let's get down to it. You know, I'm glad I'm not 15 minutes late or anything. Could it be worse? Excuse me. I'm starting to get a slight sore throat. Like the barest minimum, most tiniest amount of potential evidence of a sore throat. This is a work of fiction. Man, here's hoping I remember all of the voices I was doing. Honey tea, tea is okay at times. Never taken any for a sore throat, though. Hopefully, it's not actually that bad. Oh, okay, yeah, we are gonna have probably like a small investigatory period before we go to the next courtroom case, because here we are in our friend's bar talking. Diamani, we've got heavy shit to discuss. We'll shoot a prom. Oh, right. Longer than 9 seconds at this time of day. I don't want to hear that depressing shit. We'll enter that cross post or whatever. But more legit that way. My hands do not shake, but I'll try. What are you doing? Making you a drink, obviously. It's quite the treat. Why? Because we've got some heavy shit to discuss. Okay, so this is going to be a bunch of exposition. We've got some heavy shit to discuss. Starts with ice. What do we do with crushed ice at Kintsugi, Sarah? Kick it under the fridge. Exactly. Rock ice or nothing when you're mixing a cocktail. Hang on, you taught her that? There's a drain under there. Not in my kitchen. When the ice melts, it warps the floor, but... Half a lime, juiced, pay no attention... Oh, juiced. Pay no attention to the second half I'm using here, Sarah. Red likes it tart. Oh, God. My fucking sea cleaner just popped up on me. Fuck you. Okay. Now you're the lawyer, and you've got a hell of a mind for all this stuff. Egg white. Toss the yolk unless it's a weekend, in which case... Put it in the bowl in the fridge. But it seems to me like you're approaching this shooter from every angle but the deadly serious one. Orgeat. If a customer says they prefer simple syrup, you let me know and we won't serve them anymore. You need to consider that maybe that shooter wasn't there for Sosuke. Oh! That's a good point. He might have been there to kill Morgan. He was here to kill Morgan, though. Why? Mob lawyer? Is that the only reason? Also, I am very curious as to how much Diamani knows about Morgan's serial murders. I wonder if he has any idea, or if she's kept it from literally everybody but herself and her victims. I told you, they kicked me out after only a few minutes. No one's sending an assassin after me for that. Whiskey, Black Label or higher. Then, shake the hell out of it. Word of mouth can be deadly down there in the fog. I saw her leaving the building can easily become I saw her running away. If someone wanted to get me, a courtroom filled with cops would be a pretty shitty place to choose to do so. Yeah. But it might have been the only time and place they knew you'd be. Mint for a garnish, with charred cinnamon for smoky ambiance. Serve immediately. What a nice watercolor painting. A bitter blessing. Surely with that much lime, it's a sour blessing, no? You want me to toss it out? Thank you for the drink. But I'm nobody, Rain. No one's coming to get me. Nobody even knows I exist. Man, Morgan, that's what you want to believe. The reality is that you're attempting to be a serial killer in an information age that is like 100 times worse than it is in real life. Like, even the most minor of discrepancies could lead you to being caught. Even if you think that you can get away with it with technology or by avoiding technology, you know, like, it isn't, like, it's impossible for any human being at this point in this timeline to really account for all information that could possibly exist about them. There's too many possibilities of loose ends. So, like, the idea that they don't know that you're a murderer... I'm sorry, Morgan, but this is sort of, the fool's gambit of being a murderer. They always think that they're going to get away with it because of how smart they are, that they can avoid it. The reality is that you get away with it only if you're lucky. Like, the cops decided that they were lazy that day. Or maybe they woke up on the wrong side of the bed and are literally tired and out of focus, and they don't see the one piece of evidence that would have caught you. You know? Lucky. And that's even in real life. Okay? This is 60 years in the future. This is even more fucking insane, okay? There's no way for you to ever be truly comfortable as a serial murderer. Even if you tell yourself over and over again, oh, nobody knows I exist. Oh, you sure about that? You sure about that? I hope you're right. I am. You won't know if you're wrong until it's too late. Bottoms up. You get all that, Sarah? Yes, boss. Hey, bottoms up is just an expression. You're supposed to sip it, for God's... One last thing. Apparently, Sosuke's captors talked about some kind of huntsman. If the little lord's an urban legend, huntsman's a goddamn boogeyman. Orcas shooting the shit around, burning tires, trying to make the noobs afraid to go off and piss by themselves. Right, so they're bullshit. I got the same answer elsewhere, but... Oh, they're very real. Pardon? Huntsmen. Not a species native to our shores, thank God, but they're real. You just said they're boogeymen. Yeah, and the fact that they exist is what makes them so damn scary. Don't tell me you're talking about a spider. Don't tell me you're literally talking about a spider. Don't tell me. Are they some sort of assassin, like Bresson, the shooter in the courtroom? Nothing so concrete. Huntsmen are virtual shapeshifters. Oh, okay. You feel a chill down your spine one night on your way home from work. Go to sleep. Wake up at night to a man wearing your own face choking the life out of you, while he calls your mom from your locked phone across the room in your own voice. But like I said, they're all overseas, in much more contested parts of the world where the Blue Bloods are better funded. Yeah, aka Asia, the Far East. This is probably in California. This game probably takes place in California. Wouldn't be shocked if it was San Fran. You wouldn't pay for one of them to come into the country unless you had a really good use case, or a weapon only they could take full advantage of. The mask. They're coming for the mask. They're coming for the mask. You see, again, this is another thing. Like, Morgan thought that, oh, if I have the mask, I can just get away with anything. But, like, have you considered that the mask is a type of technology where whoever is the actual owner of it is going to know what's going on with it? Well, I'll be sure to pass that on to Sosuke. Why, so Sosuke can start writing his will? I wouldn't bet against him so long as he knows what he's up against. Urban legends are missed, but boogeymen are easy to kill. How do you kill a boogeyman? Same way I'd kill anyone else. With pleasure. Oh! Wow. Okay, so in her mind she's like, oh, I'm just gonna shoot this motherfucker if I ever see him. Wow, what a, I'm sorry, Morgan, but, like, is that... I don't know if you're ready. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking mad shit. I don't know if Morgan has it. Oh, right. I actually need a recommendation from you. What kind of recommendation? A bar, I think, needs to be open tonight. Oh. What are you looking for? Well, it's, not for me, but... How much do you know about host clubs? Memory. Host clubs? Oh boy, I have no idea what this is going to be about. What the hell is that supposed to mean? Just what I said. You can't enter the crime scene until you pass our security clearances. You've got to be... You're a drug-pushing lowlife. Why would I need your permission to go anywhere? I take offense to that. I've never worked in pharma. Han, not the time to be a smartass. Reyes, it'll only take 30 seconds. You're serious? This is reality? The city's expecting blue bloods to keep a crime scene secure? They're the ones committing the goddamn crimes. Hey, if that's your criteria, half the police force should be disqualified. Or is excessive force not a real crime? Are battered spouses not real victims? Guess assault's only assault when it's a real person on the receiving end. Cyanus is legitimate, Reyes. All the paperwork's in order and signed by our bosses. These idiots are walking around barehanded and knocking shit over and leaving trash over the goddamn place. Should we give them badges while we're at it? Let them investigate crimes too? We already investigate crimes. You have an idea how many missing teens there are in the lower wards? No, because we find them, because we actually give a shit about the people who live down here. Oh, and I'm sure your prices are very generous. Better their parents get a bill from us than a letter of condolences from you. So sorry, ma'am, but he looked suspicious as he was running away. Han, not helping. Reyes, let's calm down. Sorry, I'm not calm when we've got actual orcas stomping all over the scene where a cop was murdered. Last I counted, there were 5 bodies upstairs. Are both of your eyes broken, or do you just not recognize anyone without a badge as human? Perhaps we've come at a bad time. Nothing for it. Gotta strike while the iron's hot. The iron seems very hot in this instance, Adonai. Sorry to interrupt, folks. Don't mind me, I'll just take another look upstairs. Now you? Hey, why not? You nearly died once already today. Why not let these orcas give you the tour? Was that you giving me permission? No, you and London should both be at a goddamn hospital over getting debriefed. She doesn't need your permission. She has mine. Ma'am, you can go ahead upstairs. Yeah, because we did that yesterday. Talk over me again and I'll break your finger. Is that ad recording right now? That sounded like a threat. You want to hear a threat? Clearly, this isn't gonna work. So, Han, why don't you head upstairs and wait for Morgan? I don't take orders from you. Who do you take orders from? Want me to give them a call? Let them know you're going around kicking hornets' nests and scratching your head over why everyone's getting stunned? Whatever. You think you can just walk away after the shit you said? Turn around and take a walk, sunshine. London, if you think for even one... I'm not kidding, Farah. Take a walk. Forget it. You can all go to hell for all I care. Oh, for... No, not you! For God's sake. Sorry about the bad timing. No, I was gonna blow up no matter what. Situations like this require compromise, and Reyes is uncompromising. At least you're around to balance her out. You might be the most compromised cop I've ever met. That was not a very nice thing to say. And it shows that you haven't met that many cops. I'm surprised you're still welcome around here after what happened in the courtroom. Oh, Bresson? The Bluebloods are a big organization, and Bresson was pretty firmly on the other side. Guys like Han, who work in the gray areas, might as well live in a different world. If you say so. I just didn't think the Mafia would allow the death of one of their own to go unanswered. They sent him into a courtroom packed with police with a modded arm that only had one shot. I don't think they're surprised he didn't make it back. Will Detective Reyes be alright? She seemed angry. More so than usual. Yeah, she'll be alright. Blowing up, yelling, cursing, that's nothing. Practically healthy. It's the ones who go quiet you gotta worry about. Yeah, because you don't know what's going on in their head. What brings you back here anyway? We're pursuing leads. Sounds serious. Your testimony. Was that your whole story back in the courtroom? You and Reyes happened to be in the area? If you don't want to take my word for it, Reyes will tell you the same thing. It doesn't seem like she'd want to talk to Adonai at the moment. Can you tell me exactly what you two saw when you arrived? The 10999 went out around 10:15 p.m., telling us that Chopin's heart had stopped. Oh, by the way, guys, in real life, 1099, I'm pretty sure, is the original report code for radio when a cop goes down. The reason they put 10999 in here, though, is because it's an automatic message from the biometrics that the officers have. So, like, in real life, 1099 is for when, like, somebody witnesses the cop go down. But in this case, there's 3 nines because this is when, this is when, like, it's reported by, like, by an ad or, like, by, technology, which is very interesting. The devil in my Christian Twitch. Yeah, we're kind of playing as her, aren't we? That's the implication. So, we dashed across the street to an elevator. We were descending at 10:17 p.m. when Rogers reported that he was dead. At 10:21 p.m., we approached from the front of the building, saw the door jar, lock blown in, and Sunshine and I started clearing the first floor. You didn't hurry up to the 3rd floor where the dead cop was? Black Guy testified Chopin had flatlined, and his own partner had confirmed it was no false alarm. We knew we couldn't do anything for him. Rogers had already apprehended the suspect, so SOP is we focused on securing the area and clearing the premises. How level-headed. So the Officer Rogers we saw in court today really did take Sosuke down all by himself. Yeah, charged in and pistol-whipped him right in the head. I assumed you found that the 1st floor was, in fact, clear? Yep. All these vaults were empty. You didn't wait for Cyanus to show up with spare keys? Surprised you didn't throw your back out kicking down doors. Sunshine helped. Besides, they weren't all locked. They weren't? Yeah, I remember that. That one right there was unlocked. Room 107. Vault, quotation marks, door. Detective London testifies that this one vault door was unlocked when he and Detective Reyes arrived at the scene of the crime. Utilizes a physical key like the other doors on the premises. Nothing suspicious was found in this, or any of the other locked vaults they had cleared. The vaults, however, now are relevant because Chopin might be... Not only was Chopin... Oh, God. So, I don't know if you guys remember the story. Oh, yeah, I haven't finished the uploads. God damn it. There is a first of all, we know that the cops, the corpos, and the mafia all work together to keep the place stable on behalf of the state. That's basically society in this universe. So the thought process is that the politicians adopted Chopin because the blue bloods that the politicians are consorting with believed that Chopin might be the heir, a lost heir, genetic heir to the blue blood fortunes, which is a big deal because the blue blood fortunes have been biometrically sealed to only a set number of genetic blue blood family members. And those people were all massacred 30 years ago by the Icaria family and their assassins. So the idea is that they adopted him and then eventually put him into a government position on the police force in order to hide Chopin on behalf of the blue bloods within their own ranks. So now that that's a theory that we're going with, that Morgan is trying to find some sort of substantial evidence for, anything related to the Blue Bloods' fortune, legacy, and intergang politics is now an important thing for us to investigate. That's why a vault door is something mundane, but we need to actually take a look at it now because, like, the scope of our theory of how we're going to defend Sosuke in court has just dramatically shifted to be much, much bigger. And you want to know something funny is that Sosuke is also a blue blood by birth, because he was a baby and he was taken in by the Ikarias after they murdered, like, his family, and they taught him everything he knows, and he became their assassin. Allegedly he became the Hound, the assassin of the Icaria family. Which is kind of interesting because now I'm getting a theory. Now I'm getting a theory that there's a chance that the reason they adopted Sosuke rather than murdering him and then they indoctrinated him throughout his entire life to be loyal to the Ikarias might be because there's a non-zero chance that Sosuke is the heir to the blue blood biometric vaults. Now that might not necessarily be true. We won't know for a while. Or so, you know. Nothing suspicious was found in the vaults. Nothing inside there either, though. Guess the Blue Bloods missed a lock on a nightly roundup or something. Cyanus has unlocked every door in this building at this point. But when I first walked down this hall and when I walked out the front door later, how did this hall look then? About Chopin. Anyone go digging into Chopin after my implications earlier today? I'm sorry if I keep bumping the microphone. I'm trying to adjust the laptop so it's not overheating. I should buy another laptop, if I'm gonna be honest. I really should upgrade pretty soon. Like this baby has served us for almost 7 years, and that's that's probably my longest lived laptop, especially with what I've put it through with 5 years of streaming. Like, Jesus. Lady Rockford will probably take it seriously, if only to cross it off the list. But other than her, I think you mostly just pissed people off. Lucky for you, I was able to convince some techs to confirm your soundproofed Windows theory. Oh! Thank you. You didn't have to do that, but thank you. Windows at the scene of the crime, positioned behind Creek's desk, opens the alley and the fire escape. Blood splatter across the window has, through forensic analysis, been traced back to when a Magnus shell split inside Creek's rib cage, spraying blood and viscera behind him. Fingerprints on the handles match Creek and the rest of his pod. Additional analysts of the building has confirmed that the windows and doors are all effectively soundproof when closed. Don't expect to be welcome at City Hall anytime soon. Hadn't counted on it. Whatever else he's innocent of, Chopin did get here before anyone else, and no one knows how. Look, if he really did get some kind of coded message or secret text, there's no trace of it in any comm logs on his personal devices. And it didn't come from any of the tech we've examined on site. Have you found any secret passages on the premises? Afraid not, little lady. But maybe you'll have better luck than me. Secret passages? In what world? If you do manage to find some kind of silent alarm, I'll be impressed. If you prove that Chopin was dirty, I'll be floored. But even then, how are you going to convince a jury that anyone other than Sosuke killed him? It'll be difficult without accounting for the 4 dead blue bloods as well. But if you take it all in as one set, it starts seeming plausible as an internal issue, don't you think? What do you want to pitch this as the young bloods and old guard going at it? Over what? The juicy bait that Chopin literally died over. Proposition 492. But what's there to disagree about? The project would put money in everyone's pockets. If my theory's correct, and Chopin was killed because the Youngbloods don't want the Old Guard abandoning them, the Old Guard have always hedged their bets on the Little Lord returning. Does that mean the Red Ink plans to profit off Prop 492 were a Youngblood conspiracy? Huh. Those papers were tucked inside Creek's safe before I arrived. Well, good hunting. You won't be joining us. Not this time. I gotta go pump the brakes on Sunshine before she finds a bar. Try not to piss off the Blue Bloods with any more wild accusations while I'm gone. I would never. Take care. And that goes doubly for you, Sparky. What does Sparky mean, by the way? It's a nickname, because you're so bright. A nickname? But I guess people are always calling you ads whatever they like, huh? Sorry, should have asked first. What do you mean? I'll just call you Sarah. But it's my nickname. You gave it to me. You can't just take it back. Well, okay then, Sparky. What the hell? Did you hate spearmint that much? I would never want to seem ungrateful. Oh, you little turd. Seems like the smell's starting to fade. That's crazy. It's been like 3 or 4 days and it's already fading. Janitor's got really good crime scene cleanup technology. Damn, she's so adorable. Yeah, Sarah is great. The cutest gay brown baby. that should be in gay baby jail, but instead she's helping us. Barely even the memory of blood, now that so many feet have trodden through here. Nothing lasts forever. Miss Han? What? No, I already called you this morning. No, they're not. No, they're not. You're being paranoid. Yes, I'm sure. Yes, I'll call you tonight. Bye. Didn't mean to interrupt another lover's quarrel. What? Oh, no, that was... Dementia meds aren't working. They get confused this time of day. Sorry. Forget it. That's what I'm gonna do. Just gonna turn my phone off for a minute and forget. Jeez. 60 years in the future and they haven't cured dementia. That's, incredibly fucking depressing. Jesus. Cute android, by the way. So, what's up? There's a couple ways of going about this, but none of them are surefire. Might as well start up big and see if there's anything to this theory. Do the Bluebloods use silent alarms? Yeah, of course. Thank you for telling us. Sure. I'm actually going to need a bit more than that, Miss Han. It's just Han. Did Creek have a silent alarm? She's hesitating all of a sudden. Is she unsure of the answer, or did she just give her first answer without thinking about where it would lead? Nothing like that installed in the building. Arcs would have chewed it up and spat it out by now. The Arcs is not flawless. It can miss things. Look, you've seen the level of tech we Bluebloods have? It's secured, but it ain't subtle. True. An Orca-run security firm won't have quite as much luck hiding their subsystems from the police as David Asher did, Sarah. But the Arcs can miss things that aren't tech at all. A silent alarm that's analog. Ha! Let me know if you figure that one out. Either an alarm is analog and loud, or digital and silent. They don't mix. She's defensive, but her logic is sound. I have a feeling that 100 years before the events of this game, there were definitely analog alarms, analog silent alarms, that simply have phased out of use by this point in history. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if I could Google... You know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm curious immediately to see how much of a world-building idea this is. I'm gonna Google this real quick. Are there silent alarms that are analog? According to Copilot, yes, they are. There are silent analog alarm clocks. No, that's not what I mean. No, not a literal alarm. Okay, silent security alarms. Here we go. No, come on, Copilot. Tell me. Come on. What's AI good for if you're not going to be super Google? Yes, there are silent analog alarm devices that operate without digital displays or loud ticking using gentle alarm mechanisms. Oh, that's no. Security alarms. Fuck. Okay, it's not telling me. I'm not gonna bother. Approaching it from the other angle, then. How could an analog silent alarm possibly function? A literal alarm, but one that can't be heard under normal circumstances. I don't think you can really have analog silent alarms. Actually, I just had immediately an idea. I don't know if the game is going to do this idea, but it would work. Infrasound. There are frequencies of sound that are so high-pitched and so low-pitched that the human hearing frequency baseline cannot hear them. What if you had a non-digital device that can produce infrasound, perhaps even targeted infrasound, and somebody with modded ears can pick it up, but somebody without those mods would never be able to hear it? It only makes sense because of modding, because people in this universe are often cyborgs. It wouldn't otherwise make any sense. It would basically be just literally dog whistles. In fact, that's actually what a dog whistle is. Like a real-life dog whistle, not the buzzword dog whistle, but real-life dog whistles. We can't hear them, dogs can. Because it's a form of infrasound. It's a pitch of sound that dogs can receive, but humans cannot. So if the Bluebloods have infrasound alarms, then they could transmit these alarms to specific agents of theirs that have modded ears that can hear infrasound. I don't know if the game's gonna go in that direction, but we'll see. But that's like my idea off the top of my head. What a horrible smell in here. Maybe I'm not retarded, guys. Maybe I am the smart man. Because I fucking caught it. I fucking did it. You once bragged to me about your sense of smell. I don't think I was bragging. Could have sworn you puffed your chest out at the time. Doesn't matter. If I asked you to sniff something out, could you find it? Oh, she's using dog whistle in her brain as a branching point for the idea of what if this analog alarm was based on scent? Which I don't know if that's necessary for them to do that. Maybe the argument would be that too many humans have modded ears that can hear infrasound for that to be useful, because a bunch of random people in the city would just hear the alarm and be like, huh, that's weird. So it could be that it could be instead like a scent or a pheromone. The problem I have with that as an idea, if it turns out to be a scent or a pheromone, is that how slowly those things travel. Like, the reason those things work with animals in close proximity is because they're in close proximity, or in the case of fucking bugs, they're so small and they move so slow relative to, like, actual, like, astronomical units that, like, pheromones travel much faster relative to bugs. So, like, ants can just shoot their fart pheromones everywhere, and they know, and they all are coordinated perfectly at all times. But it's not the same way with larger organisms like us. Smells travel very, very slowly, and so I don't really know. I mean, Chopin did arrive like an hour and a half later. I don't... Maybe that's enough for the scent to travel? But, like, there's also travel time involved, so I don't know. I don't know. If I asked you to sniff something out, could you find it? What would you like me to look for? I still don't have a clear picture of what happened after I left, but there's one thing I know should be here that hasn't turned up once yet. Scent is never going to be faster than sound, though, under normal circumstances. Right, that's why I'm not sold on the idea that it was like a scent-based analog alarm. I'm really thinking it would make sense as infrasound, and I'm not sure what else would make more sense than that, other than the counter-argument I put up that was hypothetical. Keys, knife, cigarette. I don't recall any keys. The skeleton keys for the entire building were found on Creek's corpse right where I left them. Yeah, no, I don't remember. I didn't remember. No, the one thing I know should be here that hasn't turned up. I don't remember if I puffed the cigarette or not. Didn't I take my own knife with me? Right, I'm the only one who knows about the knife. And while I don't know where it went, I do know it had plenty of blood on it when I last saw it. I want you to smell for blood. Adonai, do you really need me to help you find blood in here? I'm not asking you to sniff in here. I want you to smell out the window. I'll try. There are many strong smells in this part of the city, Adonai. But there is something truly unpleasant as well. Something beneath this fire escape. Okay. Now go fetch. You could ask nicely. Wait, Sarah. Yes. That's a very old, rusted fire escape. Take the stairs. You're too heavy. As you command, Adonai. Un instanto. Several minutes later, Sarah returned, looking worse for wear and seemingly in a bad mood? Did the weight comment bother her that much? Sarah, honey, you're like 300 pounds of metal muscle compressed into, like, a teenage girl's body. Why are you even vaguely thinking about the weight comment? You literally are like a killing machine. Hope it's not scent. That'd be a stretch. It also doesn't need to be infrasound. Any sound outside of our hearing spectrum would work. Well, yeah, that's what I said. They used ears tuned to a very specific frequency that could only those ears could pick up that could work without turning any heads. Yeah, that's another reason why that counter-argument wouldn't make any sense, because it's like there are so many different frequencies of sound that we can't hear that, like, what, are people going to mod their ears to get how many new lower or higher octaves, you know? Like, it'd have to be quite a lot, and what would the purpose be? To hear weird infra music? Never comment on a girl's weight? Wrong. Comment on the weight of every single woman that is morbidly obese. Always. Every time. Is it... Bruh, info music would be some bullshit. Would it, though? Like, don't you just need to invent new instruments that, like, produce analog infrasound? Like, elephants can already communicate with each other in infrasound. They can generate it with their vocal cords. There's no circuitry there. So, like, surely. Just imagine the hipsters that would spawn, the absolute worst community. I suppose so. The thing is, though, is that if that would be music that requires you to have special ears, that wouldn't be a hipster thing. That would be, like, a rich person thing. Like, oh yes, I've modded my inner ear to pick up 20 additional octaves of sound. Oh, you should hear the key shifts into infrasound with Beethoven's Fifth. Oh, it is glorious. We call it Beethoven's 5.5. Did the weight comment bother her that much? Adonai, I do not like digging through trash. It is not a dignified way to investigate. Digging in people's trash is the basis of all good investigation. Easy for you to say when you aren't wearing all white. Did you find something? Yes. My knife. You heard that new album by And Money. Oh, sorry, of course not. You have meat ears. Fucking Nazim. Man, imagine if Starfield was like a good video game and somebody made a mod for it where they added Nazim to one of the nightclubs, and that's his only comment. Like, that's his only dialogue. And he says it in the exact intonation of "Do you get to the Cloud District quite very often?" Unfortunately, that's not going to happen, though, because Starfield's a terrible game, apparently. My knife, and it's charred. I found it amongst the ashes of a blackened steel drum below the fire escape. Somebody oh my god. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like this is insane that this wasn't found earlier. Then again, the police and the Bluebloods don't exactly have the best incentives by their respective businesses in order to search this thoroughly, but, like, I don't know, man. I feel like in real life, 40 years, or 60 years prior to this fucking game, I feel like in real life, this knife would be caught, like, immediately, without any assistance whatsoever. But again, like, the police are stretched so fucked and so thin in this universe, that there's so much criminal consorting with one another, and with the police, and with the politicians, and with the corpos, that I guess there's just no incentive to be. There's no incentive for them to check something thoroughly, such as the charred remains of random shit in the alleyway. So I don't want to say that this is like a bad writing for the game yet. Like, if it's never explained, then I'd be like, eh. Have you seen the AI Dagothar follower meme where he tests the guy's PC by spawning 9,000 Nazeems? That does sound funny. There's a lot of AI Dagothar content, though. At least, like, 6 months ago there was. It seems to have been the site of a fire. That sounds familiar. Wasn't there a barrel burning in the alley when I first scoped the place out? There were signs of a chemical flame retardant being applied to the barrel. Police must have put the fire out when they first secured the scene, meaning the knife wasn't in a fire all night, but still. There does appear to be blood on this knife, Adonai. So how did both the police and Cyanus miss it? Okay, yeah, so, like, man, every time I question the writing in this game, it immediately is just like, no, we got you covered. Because whoever made this fucking game is a good writer. Their noses aren't as good as yours, evidently. And you can see her sus eyes here, so she knows that that's a bogus explanation, but she's saying it because there's nothing else that can be really said to Sarah about it at this point anyway. Remember, Sarah is not in the know. Sarah doesn't know that she's a serial killer. Sarah doesn't know that the police, corpos, and mafia are all working together simultaneously. Sarah doesn't know any of these things, so Morgan kind of just has to tell her that, oh, they just suck in comparison to you, while giving sus eyes to the whole situation. That is true! Wouldn't it be funny if it were split personality? You have been writing this game, so it's tailored to you. Man, I don't need no imposter syndrome, so don't start. Jesus Christ. But they seem to have drones and dogs for this kind of thing. Yeah, but they have to actually use them. They'd have no reason to search the vicinity for a bloody knife if they found a sword sticking out of a corpse's midsection. I guess that's somewhat true. I guess another reason they wouldn't go there and investigate looking for a knife is because the scene of the crime is fairly obvious, and also because one of the victims is a cop, it would be contentious for them to not... Actually, yeah, like, they rushed this court case along as quickly as they possibly could. So, there's an element of cover-up that we already knew was going into this from the beginning. That's why they rushed the court case as quickly as they did. So... Actually, this is a plausible explanation. Shall we ask the police to check for fingerprints? Fingerprints are mostly oil and sweat. Fire evaporates them both. Then we'll have to test to see whose blood is on that knife. But DNA is damaged by heat as well. You know, before DNA analysis, blood had another forensic use. You mean blood typing. The DNA on the knife might be too damaged, but modern analytical tools should be able to at least identify blood typing. That could work, Adonai. Great. Ready to get started? Pardon. You were capable of recognizing my DNA, weren't you? When we first met? Yes, but... So why don't you try your head at analyzing blood type? It's gotta be simpler, right? It might be, but Adonai, to analyze the blood on this knife, I would have to use my tongue. Pretend it's a lollipop or something. It's blood. Well done, blood. It'll taste like beef. You don't know what human blood tastes like. Of course I don't. Look, the fire sanitized it, probably. Just get it over with. Look at that. Yeah, this game, the devil in this game is Morgan. Look at that smile. Look at that smile. If a woman smiles at me with this, if this woman smiles at me, if a woman were to smile at me like this, I am going to end up in a body bag, naked, with a lot of genetic material on me. Because we know why a woman stares at people like this. For either one, the other, or both. You're fucking dead. Or maybe you'll be lucky, and you're not dead. Just scared shitless. A woman smiles at me, period, I'm cooked. Oh, so your mother has cooked you? Moms do a lot of cooking, so that makes sense. I will reference this incident next time we discuss raises, Adonai. Fine by me, because that's never happening. Analyze the blood! Analyzing flavor profile? She's never smiled at me. Bullshit! Yes. What have you got? There is blood from more than one person present. Mostly B negative, I believe, with some AB negative around the tip. Alright, now I can cross-reference that with the rest of the data I have. Thank you for the report, Sarah. You've given me a new lead to follow. Yes, Adonai. And you've just made your first forensic contribution to an ongoing criminal investigation. How many... What? What did happen? What? Oh god, I accidentally put it on auto. Whoops. Okay, hold on. That scared me for a moment. I was like, what the hell? Why are they... How many androids can say that? Now, come on. We've got some boxes to tick. My knife. A mass-produced, medium-sized combat knife sold at a wide variety of outdoors or hunting vendors. Recovered at the bottom of the ash-filled barrel in the alley just outside the crime scene. Bears clear signs of blood on the blade despite being significantly charred by flames. Sarah's unique but nonetheless admissible forensics analysis found the presence of the following. Type B- blood. Type AB- blood. Last time I'll ever leave something important with Sosuke. How the hell did it end up outside? Is this evidence? It's a piece of crap some crime scene tech left behind, nothing relevant about it. Yes, you're right, it's just displaying a news article they must have been reading. Apparently they've arrested the Heartbreak Killer. Copycat. Yes, the Heartbreak Killer's copycat, and it seems... Just let me skim it for myself. Suspected Heartbreak copycat foiled, arrested. An individual suspected to be planning an act of terror has been arrested. Thanks to quick response from local police and well-coordinated efforts from state investigators, the suspect, whose identifying information has not been released to the public, was apprehended by officers seemingly in the midst of preparing their attack, having already loaded a firearm and several magazines of ammunition into their vehicle. Police have not commented on whether the firearm in question was properly tagged, but insiders with close ties to the investigation claim that the weapon itself was not what led to the arrest. We had identified a troubling pattern of net activity in the days leading up to the arrest, concerning searches and attempts to access old net portals. The suspect had already been on our radar by that point, so when they posted that manifesto, we were able to quickly secure a warrant for their arrest. The alleged manifesto in question consists of what was, at the time, a publicly accessible online document, praising Heartbreak's hardline stance against neoliberal corporate soft power. Oh man, some things never change. 60 years later, yep. 60 years in the future, yep, I see it. I see this. And listing a number of complaints and criticisms against the recent business decisions made by Hanami Robotics, most notably an announcement made on their last earnings call that they would begin moving manufacturing jobs offshore. While the decision landed Hanami in some controversy at the time, their stock price steadily increased in the days after, reflecting on optimism amongst shareholders that Hanami's lucrative product lines of mostly heavy construction robots would no longer be so strictly tied to national politics. When the arrest was first made, no clear connection between the individual and Hanami was apparent, but Hanami's CFO has since been seen speaking at an investor conference at a hotel within 50 kilometers of the suspect's residence. Excuse me. Suggesting a possible target. The takeaway here is that terrorist acts like this are easily caught, easily prevented, and there is no standing risk to the public, said lead investigator Kennings in his official statement to the press. To any dissidents out there thinking that they're the next Heartbreak, just because you bought a gun, you will be caught, you will be prosecuted, and your hero won't be far behind. Update. Hanami Robotics has yet to respond to requests for comment, but their official social media accounts have released simultaneous statements denouncing in the strongest terms rising violence and thanking investigators for their swift and decisive action. We've also learned that a select portion of shareholders have received messages clarifying Hanami's global market strategy, and they're reaffirming their commitment to their workers as well as to their customers and shareholders. Whether this is indication of a reversal of their decision to relocate jobs overseas. Yeah, no, they're not reversing that decision, obviously. Like what you're reading, does it change how you feel about Hanami Robotics? What if you could have access to stories like this, hours or even days before the rest of the public? With a Premier account, you'll have access to all our updates on the business world as soon as they hit our desk. Remember, it's not insider trading, that's Forerunner trading. You know, one thing I like about this game is that it's overtly non-anti-political, because literally everyone is shit. The businesses, the government, the police, the fucking mafia. Like, everything is fucked. You can't really just say it's one group of people that are the problem with this universe and their society. And we're playing as one of the worst of them. We're playing as a serial killer that's also a lawyer. Like, there isn't much worse of a combination. Other than, like, you know, like a lawyer and a genocider or something, you know? Like if Hitler was a lawyer, that would be slightly worse than Morgan, but it's kind of fucking hard to be worse than a serial murderer plus a lawyer. Has she killed anyone innocent, though? We don't... Well, I'm pretty sure yes. In Chapter 0... So in Chapter 0, we were trying to figure out whether or not this man with a modded arm had killed his girlfriend. And And the twist at the end of chapter 0 was that Morgan killed her. That was the reveal. Like, oh, this game is about playing as the Heartbreak Killer. And that woman was completely innocent. There was literally nothing about her that had anything to do with crime or any. She was just the girlfriend of a random worker. But Morgan killed her because the opportunity just presented itself. During a moment where there was a street blackout, Morgan was like, oh. And then she walked over, she was walking through an alley, then saw a person by themselves, nobody else around, and she just shot her, and then she trashed the crime scene. Because she was mad, because she realized, wait a minute, they saw me, like, for a few moments before I killed them. Uh-oh, now I'm pissed. I don't have a perfect record anymore. Or some shit like that. It was something like that. Yeah, no, Morgan is not an anti-hero. She's a fucking psycho. Who, like when fucking Creek was like, why do you do this? Like, she dodged the question. And so the answer is either she has no answer, or, because she's a psycho, or something happened to her to convince her to become a serial killer, which also turned her into a psycho. So it doesn't really matter either way, you know, like, it doesn't really matter. Like, she's still she's still murdered people. And there's no reason to believe that she hasn't murdered innocent people, especially when she said to Creek, how many pieces of bread have you eaten? That implies Morgan has killed a lot of people. Quite a lot of people. But it's an indeterminate amount because we mostly only see her when she's in her lawyer persona. Criminals are fine, in my opinion. Innocents aren't. Well, I mean, what about a jaywalker? Like, I don't think these blue bloods here, like Creek and his gang, I don't think they deserve to be killed. There wasn't really any evidence other than that they were, like, just mooks in their own little business. Violent criminals, yeah. That's not what Morgan does, though. And also, that's not even how this world even works anymore. Because remember, like, the police, the government, the corpos, and the mafias, the various mafias, all of these people are working together in this intricate web of corruption where they're trying to keep each other in check while simultaneously siphoning as much power away from one another as they possibly can. So, like, normal violent crime is not really the way suffering and crime works in this universe anymore. Like, remember, Sosuke's assassin, Sosuke as the Hound, Sosuke described that what the Hound does is assassinate people who are in the middle management of Ikaria's enemies. Because if he were to kill their lowest level mooks, it's meaningless, nobody cares. If he were to attempt to kill their higher ups, that would start, like, massive wars, if it were even possible for it to happen, because the technology is so good, they probably can't assassinate people of that standing anymore in this universe. Especially when, like, the last time they killed a lot of people in this fashion was 30 years prior to this, and technology has only gotten better since those 30 years. So the result means that in order for the Ikaria to intimidate their competitors, they can't kill mooks, they can't kill the upper heads, so they kill middle management people, which is so completely backwards in comparison to real life. In modern day real life. Okay, in modern day real life, assassinations are gangsters killing each other or rich people sending assassins after one another. Middle management people getting killed by somebody is, like, unusual. That's why, like, there's so much true crime intrigue over it, because it's so unusual. Because what's the point of murdering innocent middle-class people unless there's some crazy shit nonsense happening, you know? Like, you don't suspect that a middle-class person was assassinated. That's ridiculous. But in this universe, it has to be the innocent middle management people that the Hound assassinates. Because that will because they are strong enough and have enough resources put into them that they are intimidating enough, but they are unimportant enough that they have to hide that death from their other opponents, or else they'll look weak. So that means they have to target these innocent middle management people, which means that Sosuke has murdered a lot of innocent people, which is that is fucky with my brain. Okay, like he went from cool samurai man to, oh, you are like actually like kind of fucking evil like the rest of them. But at least, you know, it was sort of ingrained into you. You were basically brainwashed into being that type of person. But anyway, seems like heartbreak isn't going away, no matter what happened to the original. Just put Techno E-Coil in the data stream. That'll get the upper guys. E. coli. I thought it said E-Coil, and I was like, is this like an Edge Runners reference that I don't know? Or like a 2077 thing that I don't remember? I don't know. So it would seem. Our client, Sosuke, according to Rogers, this is how he found him. Thrusting the sword into Chopin. Or merely trying to retrieve it. Not a huge improvement there. He really was found in a terrible state, wasn't he? And that was before the police gave him his cop killer welcoming, and... Sarah, bring up the medical files on Sosuke. I want to go over everything we know about how he looked when Rogers arrested him. What specifically? Wound patterns. How exactly was he injured? His left hand was broken. He had internal bleeding through his torso. Bruising and rope burns on his wrists, where he was bound. Contusions all over the interior side of his body. And he also sustained a large blunt force trauma wound on the back of the head. His biggest wound was to the back of his head? I guess if he fell backwards to the ground. There was also a small cut on his left hand. How small? As if he cut himself in the kitchen. Wasn't expecting a metaphor there, but it's effective enough. Blood analysis. He was covered in blood, right? Were samples taken for analysis? The blood on his torso and head was all his own. He got some of Chopin's blood on him while he was face down, being cuffed by He got some of Chopin's blood on him while he was face down, being cuffed by Officer Rogers. And he also had a great deal of Trey's blood on his feet and pant legs. Any other questions about our client's arrest, Adonai? Not unless there are some crime scene photos you've been holding out on me. I'm afraid not. How is it that I'm the one who made an effort to preserve the crime scene? Because you're the Being a serial killer has got to be so unbelievably difficult. Maybe the reason Morgan does this is purely because of boredom. It could be that she is such a fucking psycho that she's just bored and she's like, I am too intellectually good at my lawyering job. I need to do something that's absolutely fucking nuts and just get away with it in order to even feel anything. And if that's the case, then that's the case. Anchor Tan. Supposedly, he was the first to die. She killed before she was a lawyer, though? I don't know about that. I don't know if she killed anybody before she met David. I don't remember if Morgan ever said that she killed people before she was a lawyer. It would be kind of funny, though, if it turned out she was a murderer, like, since she was, like, a teenager, and she became a lawyer in order to understand how she could break the law. Threw a harasser into a furnace, though. Oh! Yeah, okay. So, I don't remember if that was her first kill. Because she did that because that was vindication for David. Because that harasser, because David was for some reason like an extraordinarily close friend with her. She was very fond of him. And so she fucking threw his fucking stalker into a furnace. Yeah, you're right. And that was when they were in college. That doesn't mean that could have been her first kill, but I don't remember. It could have been earlier, I suppose. Supposedly, he was the first to die. Logically, he had to have been. He's the only one who had the gun. If an attacker got away from him, they must have done so first. Yes, I can see that the gun is registered to him. Right, registered. Who the hell would look at this guy with that gun and just nod him along? I don't think she says if it was or not. Yeah, okay. Patrol officers TC and HR 1 week ago. TC and HR? Tariq Chopin and Huey Rogers? The badge numbers match. Are you... Okay, we've just won the case. That information right by itself just won us the entire case. Because that means that the reason these Blue Bloods had a gun in the first place was because of the police... because of police corruption. And who'd have thunk it? It was police corruption by the 2 police officers who are the first ones involved in this entire event. We've just kind of blown the case open. There's nothing the police can do anymore to prevent us from finding out their secrets. That's pretty fucking nuts. Wow. But then again, there's no state apparatus that's going to allow us to interrogate the police or scrutinize the police that much, though. So it might not necessarily work until we get to court. And then we would have to drop this type of stuff, and we have to do it before they find out that we know this. I hope. I would assume. It seems like they detained Ankur Tan briefly during a stop and frisk and found this gun on him. Finding a gun like this on anyone without priors during a stop and frisk, at the very minimum, that's ground for 28 days detainment. Why did they just let him go? Is it possible that he was a criminal informant? Oh! Infrasound or scent-based alarm could have been a result of him being a criminal informant. Ooh, and that's why Tariq got here so fast. Oh, that would throw out our entire argument for there being a motive for somebody else to kill these people. Fuck! That sort of just means that Morgan was fucked from the start because she killed somebody that was a criminal informant, and therefore she can't really do anything to denounce Sosuke being responsible for everything here. Oh, fuck. Because she can't denounce herself. If he was a CI, they wouldn't have even logged the incident. And besides, patrol officers don't have their own CIs. Okay, then, yeah, that wouldn't make any sense. Then perhaps they let him go for some other reason. Because they'd already gotten what they wanted from him? Make sure to copy the file of that stop and frisk report right away. Found on Tanks' person over a week ago during a routine civilian frisk by officers TC and HR. Report follows. Subject in possession of firearm in violation of parole. Firearm shows signs of illegal modification. Subject in possession of suspect communications installed on personal phone. Subject released with a warning in accordance with Police Code 65.3.29E. Personal discretion without prejudice. What? Okay. Right away. Red ink protocol designed to make data difficult to physically redistribute. Couldn't anyone just take out their phone and snap a picture of the pages? It seems that some kind of responding officers attempted to. The arcs show that they failed. That's some fancy ink. What do you see when you look at the pages, then? No more detail than you do, I'm afraid. It's strange, isn't it? They went to such lengths to protect this information. And yet these papers were left out where our Officer Chopin or anyone could read them. They weren't left there by Creek. I took the documents out of his safe so I could reach the mask. And I must have left them out on the desk afterwards. If those documents say, Tariq Chopin, you are the chosen one of the Blue Bloods. You are the heir to the Blue Blood genetic archives. And it says, and he reads it out loud as Sosuke is creeping up behind him, half dead with his sword. And he's like, what? He just stabs him. Oh man, that would be such a fucking, that would be a skit, that'd be like a comedy skit for like some movie or something. Some movie that's making fun of police dramas or something. Examine. So this is where they found Creek's body. He was the one who didn't die instantly. If anyone had a chance to use a silent alarm... No, must have been paralyzed in between this time he was shot and his actual expiration. They weren't paralyzed. What do you mean? If they had been paralyzed, Yumi would have noticed that in her autopsy. That's true. But he just sat there limp the whole time, didn't even try to move. Yeah, to hide from you that he was calling for someone. He was playing dead? Letting me think he couldn't move so I wouldn't notice his... Was anything found in his hands? Anything at all? It doesn't seem like it. They weren't holding something by the time their body got to the morgue. If he had been holding something but dropped it when he died... You know what I like that I'm noticing? Sarah is using gender-neutral pronouns, but Morgan is refusing to do that. She's just using he. Which could be indicative of the way that Sarah was programmed, or it could just be indicative of Morgan's personal attitude. Find that it's an irrelevant detail, but I find it interesting. Help me look. For what? Anything small enough to fit in the palm of your hand. Hang on, what's this? Really? What was that? Did you just jump? I was merely surprised by that sound, Adonai. What sound? I just brushed against this. I fucking knew it. Guys, I'm a fucking genius. I'm a fucking genius. I called it. It was gonna be infrasound. Boom, infrasound. Sarah can hear it, but Morgan can't. This little toy thing, you can hear it? I can, and it's not exactly pleasant on the ears. Could any android hear it, or is this some special feature David gave you? I'd imagine any android, or robot, or electronic device with modern features could pick up this tone. Maybe I should close the window before I test it anymore and stop torturing all the dogs in the neighborhood. Closing the window would not matter. It's soundproofed, though. But the specific frequency of this tone is not in your audible spectrum to begin with. Right. But do you really think Creek was toying with that nuisance maker in their final moments? Nuisance maker. A whistle of unusual make discovered not far from where Creek's body was found. Pressing it emits a frequency inaudible to humans, but capable of being picked up by many electronics. Man, I have no doubt the police didn't... right, no, this... London and Reyes, it would make sense that they wouldn't find this type of thing, because I'm sure that Chopin tried to hide all of this before he got stabbed. Pressing it emits a frequency inaudible to humans, but capable of being picked up by many electronics. Yes. I can hear it. I can hear it because I'm him. I've been him. I am him. I will continue to be him. It's like they forgot that I'm him. That about wraps it up in here. Miss Han, since Cyanus is technically in charge of securing the crime scene, what should I do with this? Do with what? Adonai, please refrain from pressing that button any more than necessary. Sorry, Sarah, I can see you don't like it. But Miss Han's phone doesn't seem to like it either. It's just Han, and I don't know what you're talking about. I get messages all the time. Blue blood devices react to this fucking dog whistle, which means Chopin must have had a blue blood sensor on his own fucking phone. And I'm almost absolutely certain that Rogers mentioned something about Chopin having a quote-unquote hunch. Han, Madame, if you could please just admit it so she stops pressing that... Fine! Whatever! Yes, you found one of our alarms. Pretty clever system. Not really, it's just an app. You set the frequency and get a notif if the app picks it up. The range? A couple kilometers. Thanks for clearing that up! Wow, so every blue blood within a few kilometers is having their phone ring for no reason. While I have you here, though, exactly how fast did you show up to the scene of the crime? Pardon? This is a blue blood neighborhood. Do you really expect people to believe the cops lumbered their way here faster than any of you could? What exactly are you trying to say? Yeah, I'm tuned to that frequency. But I'm tuned to a lot of frequencies. It's a good way of communicating without the Megs or the pigs listening in. So you didn't get this alarm the night of the incident? Didn't even know it went off that night? You got proof it did? Can you explain how else Officer Chopin could have gotten here? Nah, not my job to, either. Is it your job to come to a fellow Blue Blood's aid when they're desperately calling for help? I didn't know Creek like that. I didn't say Creek was the one who had this. I saw where you were poking around, and they're the head of the pod. I assumed. Creek's a stranger to me. Even though you're both young bloods. What? I'm guessing that's what the tattoo means? Neither of you make much effort to hide it. It is plainly visible, even in their autopsy photos. You have no idea what this ink means. Would you tell us what it means? Blood bag. What? The old guard uses you as donors. Gangsters live a life of drugs, smoking, drinking, and back alley mods. That end up with livers and kidneys that look like charred steak. Who could have guessed? Got no children because the Acadia killed them all. Can't get on the donor list because they're geriatric, reviled crime lords. So, what do? Hey, kid, wanna be a gangster? Let me see if you've got what it takes. Hold still while I prick your finger. They tattooed our torsos because even if you mod off all 4 limbs, you'll still pump clean plasma. Every drop an indicator of quality. I'm a universal donor, so I've got 3. AAA graded, just like meat. And Creek? Save it for the trial, lady. Are we done here, you think? Not quite. Emma's argument is that Sosuke didn't escape from here. He was brought out into the other room to be questioned, and then he broke free. I know that's not true. Sosuke would have been stuck here until the police arrived if I hadn't handed him the Mag US to, well, frame him. And the knife also to frame him, but secondarily so that he could cut himself free from his bindings. Those bloody rags there? Remember what Sosuke told us when we first met, that he was bound in here the whole time until his bad Samaritan came along? And he gave him a knife. Now we know what knife he was talking about. And now I want to know whose blood this is. The blood on the bindings, it would have to belong to Sosuke, wouldn't it? All the other bodily fluids in this room do. Probably. But I need to know. Sarah, I need you to, Just curious, why don't they have, like, super livers and kidneys in the future, like prosthetics? I think they're at a point where they can't cyberize those types of organs yet without extreme complications. In comparison to modding other things that are, like, a lot more replaceable. Or something. Like, I don't think they've miniaturized technology enough that they can have an entire dialysis machine inside of them without being in permanent, excruciating pain forever. It'd be a lot easier simply to just harvest from healthy people, if we're going to be honest here. Like, it could simply be that it just costs more money, or is less comfortable than just taking money from younger people, or taking blood from younger people. You've already done it once. What's one more time? One more time will surely make me sick. Please, Adonai, let us ask one of the Cyanus employees on standby to analyze it. They have a record for very fast turnaround on DNA tests, I promise. I can show you customer reviews. That's right, Cyanus does DNA testing. Typically paternity test as part of their private investigative services, but they have been assisting the police with DNA analysis around the scene. I will flag the bindings to be analyzed. Wait! I have already made the request, Adonai. If you insist on making me test the bindings myself now, you will only be upsetting my stomach to satisfy your own impatience. Fine. Can't they mod eyes and stuff too? Yeah, they do, and guess what? Reyes's modded eye is... It's modern, but it's not even that great because she has to wear an eye patch because it's too sensitive. Like... Her eye is police-grade, state-of-the-art, and it's still so uncomfortable that she has to wear an eye patch. Imagine how uncomfortable it would be to make that one of your primary organs. You know, you can't cover those up with eye patches. They're in your body, and they're working 24/7, and your nervous system has to assimilate to them. Like, the drugs required to make people able to tolerate their body mods is already like a big deal here. I would assume that it's even more difficult if your mods are literally your organs. Like, that must be so fucking uncomfortable, right? Fine. But I'm going to cite this incident in the next time we discuss arrays. Really is a shithole in here, though, huh? I agree with your sentiment, if not your choice of words. It feels like a cruel place. What is it? Was there something we missed in here, Adonai? No, not in here. Windows. They were closed when Creek was shot, still closed when Chopin and Rogers arrived on site. But they were open by the time Rogers got to this room. I use that contradiction to argue for the presence of a third party. Because someone must have opened them. To go down the fire escape. And then what? They must have dropped down into the alley and ran away, right? Yeah. That's one option. What's the other? Oh, I didn't know they had rejection drugs for the mods. Still, it'd be... Gotta be better than just dying, though, in other cases, not just the crime lords. Sure, but if it's cheaper to just get blood donations, then... If it's cheaper or more comfortable to just get these donations, then it's fine. Like, they would prefer that over getting their all their organs replaced. Would it kill them to do some sweeping around here? I guess that would be contaminating the crime scene at this point. But but then what the hell do all these cops and scientist chumps actually do? Lean on walls and screw around on their phones? I think you're being a bit harsh in your assessment. But you aren't alone in your criticism. Detective Reyes has much to say about how Cyanus employees were not wearing gloves and knocking over trash. If they had picked up trash, that'd be removing evidence. The arcs would light up. Adding trash, though... Adonai? Help me look through this. Garbage, again, already? Oh, I didn't know they had rejection drugs for the mods? Yeah, I believe it was I believe, like, the dystopia of the society was covered very eloquently in the pilot chapter, because the guy in that scenario who was being framed, he had to have his arm replaced, not because he wanted to or because he was disabled, but because of his job. He needed to have a super strength arm. So he had to replace one of his arms, and he had to get insurance for it, and the insurance was for maintenance and for the drugs to help him cope with having a fucking robot arm now. And because of that, he was barely making a wage that was keeping him and his girlfriend afloat, and that's why they were having fights, and that's why he was framed for her getting killed, because, oh, they had screaming matches once in a while. And then he walked out to get some air, and coincidentally during that period, the fucking, there was an outage for a few minutes while Morgan was walking by the apartment. He saw his girlfriend by herself. She just shot her, kicked some things around, and then left. That's what Morgan did. And then he came back to the crime scene, and then he freaked out, and then the police bagged him. So, like, the entire reason that all of that happened was because of how fucked up this universe is, that he had to have his arm lobbed off for his fucking job, which then put him and his girlfriend under all that financial stress. She was mad. Yeah, she was mad there was a mess, that she made even more of a mess. And then here, she might be mad again. Oh, God. Hiccups. Ever had those deep vein chest hiccups where it's like, it's in your stomach? Just start looking. If any of it requires DNA analysis. Wait, there. Red. Hope Morgan doesn't go down like light. I wanted to have more dignity than that. I mean, I don't remember, like, how bad the writing was to take, like, Yagami down. I didn't really like that character to begin with, so I didn't keep up with Death Note as a plot. But yeah, I hope that if Morgan is going to lose, it's not because of her being, like, the stupidest person on Earth. I would like it if she was outwitted in a way that's poetic and actually makes sense, you know, but I don't know. He cried like a bitch. Well, let's be real, he kind of was a little bitch. Like, he was smart, and he thought he could just be God. Like, somebody with that type of an ego kind of, like, deserves to cry like a little bitch. The reason I'm on board with Morgan is because she's an apparatus for me to understand this very interesting sci-fi world. And because she's very mysterious, even still. Like, we mostly spend our time with her as her lawyer and civilian self, not as her being a murderer. So, like, I'm in on her character because I want to know why all this is happening. Like, if we get to, like, 10 chapters and there's, like, an end, then, like, I obviously want Morgan to lose. Because she's a fucking serial killer. She shouldn't be murdering innocent people or even gangsters. Like, what would be worse is if the story attempted to redeem her in a way that was unsatisfactory and that required no consequences, meaningful consequences for her. I kind of want to see her get away just because it'd be funny. It would kind of be funny. It depends upon the context, I suppose. Morgan is very worried about the DA. Yeah, my theory is that either she wants to fuck Emma, or she's worried that Emma is, like, the only other person she's met that might be able to catch her. And so she's worried about her as a result of that, yeah. Red. I don't smell any blood. Not blood. Ink. A torn page of the red ink documents, with what looks like a shoe print on it. It says Psy on it. This is a document related to Cyanus. They tried to hide evidence, didn't they? What if they retconned all the people she killed were evil people? That'd be so lame. Yeah, that'd be very lame, unless it was actually logically true. If it became logically true that all the people she's killed were evil, then I would be able to accept it. If no, then yeah, that'd be just lame. Like, if it was literally an old, like, just retconning the older chapters lore or whatever. The old intuition acting up. That girl, that one random woman, ate orphans and blew up baby seals. You know, it'd be kind of, you know, if only that girlfriend did that in the reverse order, it would make so much more sense. And then, you know, that woman would have been, like, the most important person on Earth. She would have been president of the Earth. But yeah, so Cyanus right here is on this document. So Cyanus is trying to hide evidence that anything other than Sosuke being the murderer happened. Shall we try and match it to samples? Good luck. Cops and security types all wear the same kinds of boots. On top of which, 99 out of 100 shoes in the city are made by the same two Megs. But if the print isn't useful, that just leaves the actual text, and that looks like the letters were all run through the wash a couple dozen too many times. Well, it isn't particularly informative, and I don't understand exactly how this clue fits in with everything else we've seen, because these are Cyanus documents. Han just tried to tell us that Cyanus and Creek's operation were separated. Why were they communicating with these documents, if that's the case? But doesn't this seem important? A scrap of a red ink document with a common type of boot print left on it, recovered from the room directly below the crime scene, was missed or disregarded by previous sweeps of the building that dismissed it as trash. Having been exposed to natural humidity for some time, the red ink is already illegible, but a watermark remains visible in the corner. Yep. So the thing that I spotted immediately is exactly what the game is talking about. Yep. How could it have been lying here, neglected this whole time? Nah, princess, I'll have to call you right back. Of course, wouldn't dream of it. Come on, you know me. Whenever Han was taking those phone calls, she was walking away to the crime scene to destroy shit. This fucking bitch. Fucking piece of lying shit. What'd you find there? More dead men's garbage? Keep it up and you girls are gonna make me look bad. Happy to be of assistance. So would you like to add this to the arcs, or should I? Well, seems like you've got momentum going, so please don't let me get in your way. You don't wear gloves on the job, Miss Han? It's just Han, but you already know that. You probably also know that they don't really make them in my size. So if we found your fingerprints in here on those windows, or even upstairs... Aw, man, I'd be pretty embarrassed. We almost always get rated 5 stars. So did you need me to walk you out? I'll be fine, thanks. Suit yourself. Just be careful you don't get lost. Sun will be going down soon. Han knows that we understand what is here, and now we are in danger again. It can be hard to find your way back in the dark. Yeah, okay. This idea is starting to look like a pretty safe bet. Your theory that Chopin was assassinated as an attack on the Old Guard. But how can we confirm it? We still haven't met anyone from the Old Guard. Though, even if we had, it occurs to me that they would be reluctant to speak with Sosuke Ikaria's legal team. Don't be so pessimistic. The enemy of my enemy is usually willing to at least talk. And talk is where I do all my best work. Wow. This writing is so fucking good. This writing is so fucking good. My god. You still got the address boss gave us? Hell yeah, motherfucker. We're gonna go talk to a bunch of geriatrics. Blueblood Territory. Gal. Hey there, tall, red, and mysterious. Ladies, please, come in. Don't be shy. Let me guide you to a booth. Local host. Should we take a seat for now? With taste as expensive as yours? If you get near a menu, these people will drain my checking account on overpriced champagne faster than I can blink. Oh, champagne! Has anyone ever read the word champagne, and in your head you read Champagne? And then you're like, wait, what? Wait, and then you have to remember manually. Oh. As much as you'd like. This is gonna derail fast if I don't find a way to shut it down. A surefire way to get exactly the right kind of attention and douse their salesmanship in one go. I'll need to go with that. Hey, please don't frown. A smile would suit your face pretty much. I need to speak with your manager. Man. What happened? They're all walking away. Hey, mama, yeah? Uh-huh. There's some kind of, I don't know, accountant or whatever here to talk to you? Accountant? I mean, she might as well look like that, yeah. The voice on the other end of his earpiece grumbles a response. A cranky one, judging by his reaction. No, I have a friend that legit thought it was pronounced champagne. And I have a whole list of words he doesn't know how to pronounce. It's a running gag. That is so funny. What happens when you confront him on that? You're like, dude, what are you doing? Mama, I'll be out in a second. You're expected... Mama will be out in a second. You're expected to buy something in the meantime. You got tap water? You don't want to drink the tap water in this district. Soda water? It's all overpriced, lady. Might as well get something you enjoy. I thought my first visit to a host club would be more celebratory than this. How much thought have you given the subject? No, I will not order. What kind of light reading gets tossed around a club like this? Probably something along the lines of, I spent every night at a host club for 1 year. Here's what staff taught me about emotional workloads in corporate settings. Oh wait, this actually looks like something interesting. Oh, we do it immediately, and he has a catchphrase, here we go, or we're not doing this. And then it goes on the list! It's like 20 words long! Oh my god. Is Charlemagne on that list? You need to ask him. If it's not, you need to ask him. He said lewd as lued? That doesn't... You can't see me right now, but I'm speechless. It hasn't come up yet? Oh boy. I don't know how he even gets lued, though. Because there's no vowel between the W and the D. So how does that happen? Like, champagne, I get, because it's this weird French word that was cannibalized by English, but... I don't know how you read lewd as lued, with no vowel, with only one vowel in the word. Whatever. Is lewd even a real word? Isn't it like a meme word? I could be, I'm probably wrong, or it might have been put into the dictionary, like, in the past decade or two. Neither do we, and he's a hentai guy. You'd think that it comes second nature. It's a real word? Okay. I feel like it was slang until recently. Oh wait, this actually looks somewhat interesting. Fungus stymies bamboo, stokes unrest. Less than ideal rainfall patterns, met with greater than usual saltwater flooding, had already left many of the tropically centered macro farms that produce most of the world's bamboo struggling to meet demand. Now, with increasingly widespread reports of fungal infections, tensions are beginning to rise in the region as its large migrant worker population is faced with the possibility of one of the worst quarters on record. Bamboo is a highly versatile crop, cultivated successfully for thousands of years and on all 7 continents, if one counts the agricultural science labs on the Antarctic Peninsula. But in recent decades, advances in agricultural genetics and greater restrictions on the lumber industry's woodcutting activities have led to bamboo becoming a premier organic manufacturing and construction material for much of the world, especially in impoverished regions that often lack the machinery required to process advanced synthetic equivalents. The hardy plant can grow in a wide variety of environments and humidity levels, and has even been considered an aggressive invasive species at times, but modern genetically modified monocultures are tailored to grow specifically in a small number of tropical and subtropical biomes intended to provide a stable cash crop for regions that have historically struggled to farm soy, sugar, or wheat. I'm glad the stream's ending very soon. I might end extremely early, though, because I'm starting to get so, like, hungry in a fashion where, like, My body is heating up and I'm sweating. It's like the type of sensation you get before you're about to get dizzy from hunger. It's definitely invasive in North Carolina. Wait a minute. This is actually... Wait. You guys are telling me this is, like, real? I was reading through this and I was like... Oh, so in this universe, they started using bamboo for, like, more things than just, like, whatever random shit they currently use it for. But you guys are saying... What do you... No. Like, guys, I didn't even know bamboo was being grown on farms. Where is bamboo used in real life? I thought it was panda food. And it was, like... used for construction for, like, people living in the Stone Age right now. What the hell is it used for? Do people eat bamboo? There's no way. I've never heard of people eating bamboo shoots. They make socks from the fibers. So bamboo... Oh, fuck. I didn't mean to. Okay. They make socks out of the fiber. So it's a cash crop for manufacturing clothes in real life? Wow. I'm very surprised. Huh. I was reading through this and I was like, oh, this is like new for this universe because I've never heard of bamboo being a cash crop. I thought it was just panda food that was in Asia. Bamboo is abundant in North Carolina primarily because of 20th century landscaping trends that introduced non-native, highly aggressive running bamboo for erosion control and privacy screens. And plates and bowls and chopsticks. Yeah, in, like, the developing world. Not in, like, cash crop world. Like, I've never heard of bamboo being in the United States. Like, invasive in the United States. Like, that's crazy. I've never heard of this. I thought bamboo was just fucking panda food. Wow. Well, you know. I get it. I'm from a universe where flowers were not used culinarily as actual food, but then one day I got transported to the flower food universe, and that's this current universe. But apparently this is also the Carolina bamboo universe as well, where my socks are all made of bamboo roots. We got some crazy shit in North Carolina. Oh, oh, you live there. Oh, wow. Like, currently we have Black Panther just running around. Oh, that's just jaguars that with black fur. That's normal, actually. Jaguars are native to Central and South America. If they're returning to the southern United States, that makes sense. That's fine. That's normal. No, it's legit a panther. Okay, here's the thing though. The Black Panther is literally a jaguar with a high melanin count for its fur pattern. The result is that it looks like a purely Black Panther, but it is literally not a panther. It is literally a jaguar species. So unless you're trying to assert to me that this is like literally like a cryptid Black Panther that's like the size of a tiger, like, because what I know is that there is no distinct Black Panther species. That has never been a thing. They have always been jaguars with high melanin count in their DNA. It's fuck all big. Okay, then you're talking about a cryptid. Because or you're talking about a really fat jaguar. You know, jaguars, they're still jaguars, you know, they're not lions or tigers, but they're bigger than cheetahs. You know. I'll Google it. Okay, yeah, a large jaguar can weigh up to 328 pounds. That's big. Like, my friend, that is big. Like, I just looked it up. Jaguars can be more than 300 pounds. So, like, a black panther that's, like, more than 300 pounds, that sounds like a fuck-ass big cat. That, from a distance, you would think is big. I guess I didn't expect jaguars to get that big. Yeah, I mean, like... that, you know? It'd be the way it do, you know? Like, remember, jaguars in the fucking Amazon rainforest, they fucking kill fucking crocodilians. They fucking pounce on fucking anacondas that are like hundreds and hundreds of pounds and kill them and eat them. Would have thought like 150, 200 range. I wouldn't be surprised if most are like less than 300 pounds, but they can get over 300 pounds apparently. So like a well-fed like jaguar that has melanin and is as a black panther as a result could easily migrate northern Mexico, southern United States. You know, that's not at all out of the question. And in fact, I would say it's a good thing that they are returning to the southern United States because they used to be native to this area until the settlers came. And we fought until the Spanish and the settlers came, and we killed tons and tons of animals that were on the American continents. But anyway, it's a delicate balancing act between tuning a cultivator to a target environment and rendering it unviable in the wild. And years like this one can put that vulnerability on full display. The fungus practically chews through the groves. You can see it growing with the naked eye, said one worker who requested anonymity due to concerns over their citizenship status. The company tells us just to burn it all, but it's too damp for anything to catch fire. Bamboo is hard to burn, so they want us to use this incendiary stuff, and they won't pay for us to have masks. Data on the efficacy of burn pits in combating the spread of the fungus is limited, but most corporate officials agree that the risk of inhalation among personnel is low, and masks are an unnecessary measure. Some of the migrant worker population, however, is arguing that the hesitancy to provide masks is more politically motivated. Plotter's rebellion was decades ago, but the gas mask is still a powerful symbol even today. Back then, workers went on strike because the conditions growing mushrooms in the fungal plots were so unbearable. Now this fungus is cutting into profits again. You've got a lot of workers dependent on the industry, a lot of young people who could easily be out of work. I'd be surprised if they weren't getting nervous. Is there about to be a zombie outbreak of cordyceps fungus in this fucking universe? Like, what the fuck? It is true that the region is home to a disproportionately young population, as many international trade schools have flocked to tropical climates in an attempt to attract students with promises of low-cost living and vacation-like idyllic conditions. And though education lies firmly in the realm of corporate authority, government officials are also keenly aware of the risks and challenges associated with such a large student population. Ramsey syndrome remains a serious concern among... We're having difficulty authenticating your identity. Can you provide some basic info so we can get this website displaying properly for you? So the world and the environment is so fucked that they need to make special environments for bamboo to grow when bamboo in real life is a nuisance plant when it gets places that are invasive. That's funny, because it means that this world's environment is completely fucked beyond repair. There is no changing this global warming. Literally no, this is not gonna change, period. This is completely fucked. This is a second cycle of humanity shit. Everyone is going to die in a cybernetic fever dream. Not the reading material I expected to find here, but judging from the article, the Megs are getting concerned about... I mean, both growing fungus, but mostly growing unrest. The fungus is a problem, sure, but they've engineered their crops around problems like it 100 times before. Easier to update the monoculture genetics than your entire global economic model. The Meg's are probably more concerned about all the young people getting agitated about their job security. The warmer the waters, the bigger the storms they brew. Observe. Bad enough that I'm walking into the lion's den here, stepping even further into Blueblood Territory to defend an Icaria assassin. Do I really have to wait for the shoe to drop in a place this sleazy too? Are you perhaps not enjoying yourself, Adonai? You're getting better at picking up on that. You are frowning quite openly. Are we in danger of getting arrested here? There's nothing illegal about a host club. Show results for host club. A host or hostess club is a type of nightclub in which staff cater to clientele with attention, conversation, company, and flirtatious behavior. The talent, hosts or hostesses, make most of their wages through what is essentially a commission on the sale of drinks, food, or other services by the club. While host clubs and their associated culture were internationally fairly niche during the 20th century and saw a large decline in popularity for the first half of the 21st century, they have undergone somewhat of a renaissance in the last 20 to 30 years. Shifting cultural norms about parasociality, online dating, and work-life harmony may have contributed to this phenomena. So people go to host clubs in order to touch grass, because they can't go outside to touch grass anymore. They can only talk to bots, more bots, ads, the police, or their neighbors, and fuck that, those people suck. So I'm gonna go to a host club where I'll buy drinks, and these people will be nice to me, and I can pretend that I am socializing. Some sociologists have observed that host clubs have developed a new reputation as a kind of social gym, where young adults can exercise their social skills in a low-risk environment. Others argue that increases in average work hours have pushed single individuals away from traditional drinking culture and long-term dating. And for employees of multinational corporations who maintain running discrete tabs at select establishments, attendance may be seen as advisable or even mandatory as an advisable or even mandatory step in acquiring and maintaining relationships with their superiors. Despite the global trend of the decriminalization of sex work, host clubs have remained a distinct industry. That said, it is hardly uncommon for staff at one's establishment or other to switch sides. Users also frequently searched for how to build confidence, how to know if the hostess really likes you. Courtesan versus hostess. Who would win? Oh, that is fucking hysterical. I love this game. This game universe, this is so good. This is such a well-written fucking shit. Oh man, it's so good. Wonder if anybody else, like high profile, has played this game. It's so fucking good. So are you just uncomfortable then? Unamused. Have you ever been to an establishment like this before? No. Not even when you were apprenticing. There may have been certain work parties where attendance was strongly encouraged, but I'd never set foot within a kilometer of a place like this otherwise. I suppose if you have a hard spending limit, there's only so much you can enjoy. And it's not a matter of cost. It's a matter of taste. Yeah, I keep wondering if Morgan is either a lesbian or asexual, and this is sort of leaning into the asexual theory of mine. Because, like, she walked in, and both a woman and a man immediately started flirting with her, and she was like, fuck you, fuck this, I don't like this at all, I hate all of this. See, I think she's just completely and utterly not into anything like this whatsoever. God, what if... Oh, God. Oh, I just had the horrible idea. What if her only sexual pleasure is murdering people? But I feel like her commentary during her murders would be a lot different if that were true. So I think that's probably not the case. I'm pretty sure that's not a thing that's happening. And she only dressed like a whore in the beginning of this chapter because she was just wanting to wear a disposable outfit. Because she knew she was gonna probably fucking kill people to get the mask. And she didn't want people to see her in any other attire she would normally wear. I'd hate it too, not gonna lie, but it does help your point. Yeah, there is, like, an element to it where it could just be based on principles. And maybe Morgan is a lesbian, but she's just disgusted by... She's just prudish, you know, but who knows? Surely everyone enjoys being paid attention, no? It's flattering. Not everyone takes to being complimented. I see, so you respond more to being challenged. What do you think? Perhaps not. Is there something I'm missing anywhere? Order. The fake flirting irks me. Yeah, I would be annoyed by that as well. Then again, if I was in a low enough emotional state in my life, there is a very real non-zero chance I would go to a Hooters. And if the food was actually tasty, I would keep going. And it would probably be bad for my mental health to do that. But if I was low enough, there's a chance I would. It's eh. Well, the problem with fast food is that you can only really rely upon your local restaurant to judge, because, like, everybody talks all this shit about how Taco Bell makes them have diarrhea, and never once in my life have I ever been dissatisfied with Taco Bell in a way that was so meaningful that I remembered it. The whole restaurant thing is gross to me. I mean, it should be allowed, but it's definitely not my MO for the most part. Because I do prefer authenticity. And I am a bit, I know I've said really freaky, like, kink shit on stream before, but I am a tad bit prudish, actually. So it's sort of like, oh, I don't know if I want to go to a restaurant where, like, an 18-year-old girl's tits are about to fall out, even if it's onto my face. That's just kind of weird. I go to a restaurant with the intention of food, you know, so... It's even worse in Japan. They have those maid cafes with mirror floors, so you can look up their skirts. It's like, what the fuck? Fucking God. Do you think they were being literal when they said you were expected to make a purchase? Probably. Doesn't mean I'll oblige them. Though it's not like spending money here will make them less likely to cooperate. I would offer some suggestions based on customer reviews and price points, but for some reason, I don't see prices listed on any of the items on their menu. What the fuck? What is my thing doing? I'm not sleazy enough to be a lore-accurate male. Yeah, look. I like titties. And I like ladies' rear ends. Okay, I like these things. I like basically every female body type that is vaguely healthy. Okay? So the whole culture of, like, Johnny Bravo, unironic Johnny Bravo behaving men has always perplexed me, because I don't know why you go so hard. Like, I don't know what causes a man's personality to become so obsessed with women that are strangers that it, like, becomes their personality. I've never understood that. It's like, it feels like a waste of time. Isolation? I don't know how... I mean, I don't know whether you mean my isolation or their isolation. I don't know. But it's just... It's been weird to me. Even before I was disabled, I thought it was weird. I was like, why do people behave like this? This is so strange. Like, yeah, women are hot. Make my, give me that boner in my heart, right? But, like, Like, what? How does a man let it become his personality? It's very weird. Look at how heterosexual I am! Was a mistake made when formatting the data. I really hate this place. Beer, wine, champagne. I feel like beer is the cheapest. Hey, buddy, 1 beer, whatever's on tap. The bartender gives me a stare that's trying very hard to be withering. Underneath these soft, warm lights and all that makeup, the message feels muddled. As expected, what finally arrives is... Mostly foam. Boss would not approve of their pouring technique. I don't care if it's dishwater and food coloring so long as it gets me an in. Mama on deck! The big cheese! What exactly are you expecting? With a title like Mama, I would expect a stern but fair, nurturing figure who... What the hell do you want? Well, guys, we found the angry old lady. And I am about to get dizzy because I need to eat food. I thought I had enough food when I had a little bit of Raisin Bran when I woke up, but apparently not. Apparently I'm about to get dizzy, so we're gonna have to call it for tonight. Thank you all very much for joining me here tonight. I really appreciate you coming here to hang out with me. We will be back tomorrow to continue this game exactly where we left off. So if you don't want to miss it, then you should, come back tomorrow. If you happen to be new here and you enjoyed hanging out with us tonight, if you think I deserve a follow or a subscribe, I'd appreciate that quite a bit. I stream 3 times a week for approximately 2 hours, and this stream will be re-uploaded to YouTube tomorrow night, where it will join every single stream I've ever done. So if there are any you want to catch up on, you can find all of them there. Link is in the About section. I forgot what I was going to say. There was another thing I had in my brain that I was going to say, but I forgot. Oh well, I suppose. But, oh, yeah, I'm gonna make sure I have the other streams uploaded, but I haven't done their timestamps. I'll make sure I do all of that tonight, after I, edit this VOD. So all of that's gonna be up tonight, and this one will be, up tomorrow night. So yeah, sorry about that. Wait if, you missed those streams and don't know what the fuck's happening. But I'll get those up. But yeah, other than that, it's pretty decent overtime, so I should be getting out of here, guys, so... Thank you all very much for being here. I appreciate your support in every capacity. I hope you have a good afternoon, evening, morning, etc. And I will see you all again tomorrow with more of the devil. Ciao.